Tilted Town is finally here, and it holds a bunch of secrets and changes, like secret weapons, secrets about the story of Season 10, and leaks about which locations are going to be like the next Tilted Town. Alright guys, welcome back to another Fortnite video, and yes, as I said, we're going to be going through all of the changes today, all of the secrets. It's going to be a little bit of a mix of everything, so be sure to watch it until the end because, yeah, there is a ton of stuff to cover, and Tilted Town is officially here, which is obviously, you know, a ton of fun. And again, guys, we also have to talk about leaks pointing towards which locations are going to be like the next Tilted Town, you know, changing up, coming back from the past, and like returning locations. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hit that like button down below if you are excited for today's update, and also comment what your thoughts are on Tilted Town and the uniqueness of it, because obviously you cannot build, you cannot harvest materials and stuff like that. So I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. Also use code TheLlamaSir in the item shop. And without further ado, let's jump on into it with the first of many things that we have to talk about today. And you know what? Let's start it off with a quick overview of what exactly Tilted Town is for those of you who like aren't home. But don't worry, this won't take very long, and then we'll get into like the secrets and stuff like that. But basically, guys, it is a brand new location that the visitor brought back. It's pretty much 100% confirmed that the visitor was in charge of, you know, bringing Tilted Town back. We're not exactly sure why he did that quite yet. We'll probably save that for another video talking about specifically the story stuff. But he had set up that like rift beacon right in the middle of Neo Tilted, and then soon after that we got Tilted Town back with this big orb of like energy around it that is very similar to the rift, or sorry, not rift, the orb that is in Loot Lake. Now with that, it's very peculiar because that energy seems to have an effect on the Fortnite Battle Royale map, because when you enter it, as you guys likely already know, you're not able to build, you're not able to farm materials or damage any of the buildings in Tilted Town. But something really important about this, and this is like the first big thing, but one very important thing about this that you probably did not know or you maybe missed, this actually comes from the trailer for the Battle Pass, or I think it was like the Battle Pass trailer. Either way, it doesn't really matter. It was an official Epic Games trailer, and they had shown Tilted Town in it. But something very unique about that is that when Tilted Town showed up, the specific thing they said was like something along the lines of changes like mysterious rift zones that alter your favorite POIs. And with that, they had also showed the orb in the center of the map, which also has that, you know, weird zone around it. So these are officially called rift zones, and they affect locations on the map and give them unique abilities. Like, for example, Tilted Town, you're not able to build, you're not able to farm. And then around the orb, the special thing is low gravity. But with that being said, there's definitely going to be more of these, and we also have to talk about the leaked locations for them that are going to be returning and things like that coming up soon. And then on top of that, your character also switches to either Deadfire or what's the name of the other one? Calamity. So that is another peculiar like story related thing, because obviously this season is all about, you know, going into the past and things like that, and those skins are from past seasons. Well, Deadfire is technically in the item shop, but he hasn't released in the item shop in a very long time. So what do you guys think about it so far? What do you think about not being able to build? I personally think it's a fun way to switch it up. It's a unique location, and it brings me back to all of the other games I've played where you're not able to build. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into some of like the secret changes and stuff like that. Now, one of the things about Tilted Town that is very interesting is that it has specific vaulted weapons that are unvaulted only in Tilted Town, meaning more specifically that I think you can only pick them up in Tilted Town, which is very interesting. That switches it up a little bit, because do you want to drop here and possibly get one of those vaulted weapons if it is one of your favorites, and maybe use that late game, you know, outside of Tilted Town where you can build. So let's go ahead and jump into it with which weapons specifically are unvaulted. So yeah, we'll just go through the order here. The first of which is the double barrel shotgun, which is definitely, you know, it's one that a lot of people used to use. It did get a nerf, so I don't really remember using it a lot after the big nerf, but like before the nerf, it was super really good. I picked it up like all the time. But as of right now, you know, it's okay, but it is in Tilted Town now in epic and legendary variants, which for sure is something to take note of. That's very interesting. On top of that, one of the most common that you can find in here is the 6-shooter. This one is not that good at all. I never really liked it. I don't think anybody really picked it up that much, so that's why it eventually got vaulted pretty fast. But that comes in uncommon, rare, and epic variants. If you don't remember, it like shoots faster when you are not aiming down the sights, and then when you are aiming down the sights, it shoots slower, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that one? Personally, I was not a fan. Probably one of my least favorites. Also with that, you have the hunting rifle in uncommon and rare variants, which that is interesting right there. The hunting rifle is a classic. Gotta love it. So having it in this, you know, POI is a good thing to have. Now on top of that, you also have the infantry rifle in the common variant. Not the biggest change in the world, but it's a decent item to pick up. Not as good as the legendary one, which I do use quite a bit actually. When you get headshots with that legendary variant, that is like crazy. But as for the common variant, that is now back in Tilted Town as well. So yeah, 4 interesting items brought back. Is this going to be pointing towards other items being brought back for other locations if they are indeed themed around specific things or maybe specific seasons? It's 100% possible that we could be seeing a ton of old items come back. Again, especially since this season is about like old and new coming together. So I do think that's a for sure possibility. But yeah, keeping it going here, guys. Let's get into something that has to do with the story real quick. This is just a short one, and then after that we got some leaks to talk about future locations, future rift zones and things like that, and some other cool things as well. But yes, if we go into Tilted Town, there is a little bit of a hidden secret. It's nothing too like insanely crazy, but it points towards, you know, some time frames and things about that. So basically where you want to head over to is this building right here. If you take a look at this building, or specifically outside of this building, you will be able to find, I'm not even sure what this thing is called, a poster board, a bulletin board or something. Either way, it shows a wanted poster, and also next to it, it has Blackheart's picture right there as well, which I find very peculiar because Tilted Town is technically from the past, but Blackheart just came to the map, you know, recently. So how far in the past is Tilted Town? Because it could be possible that maybe it was like 20 years ago, depending on how old Blackheart is. Maybe it's from when he was like pretty young, but even then, that seems pretty fast to go from like an old west town all the way to Tilted Towers, which is like modern, and then to Neo Tilted. That doesn't really make sense a whole lot, but I found that interesting that Blackheart is specifically included in Tilted Town. Maybe he was from like the original rift that the visitor created. But then after that, guys, let's keep it going with some leaked locations that are going to be like the next Tilted Town and things like that. It seems like almost every 2 weeks or so we're maybe going to be getting a new location, maybe every week or something like that. Again, it's a little bit tough to say how the time period is going to go, but now looking at it, you know, actually maybe it could be a week, because looking at this, it seems like as of right now there are 6 planned locations to be returning, similar to how Tilted Town was revamped as like an old and new location sort of mixed. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it with these leaked locations. So basically this info comes from @Hypex on Twitter, but apparently this is from like some challenges that show certain locations. But starting it out here, there is Moisty Mire. That is right, guys, Moisty Mire, the old location with, well, the swamp, one of my favorites, and we talked a bit about some of these in one of my previous videos. If you want to check that out, that will be linked down below in the description, because there are clues pointing towards some of these locations as well. But on top of that, you also have Anarchy Acres, which was like the farm, sort of similar to, actually it was very similar to Fatal Fields. On top of that, you also have Risky Reels, which was obviously a classic. Gotta love Risky Reels. And also with that, Greasy Grove. That is right, Greasy Grove, one of my favorite locations, if not my favorite location. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say it. Greasy Grove was my favorite of the old locations in Fortnite. I always dropped there, and if it comes back, I'm definitely gonna be dropping there a bit more. But that's not the end of it, guys. We also have apparently Tomato Town, which is peculiar because Tomato Town, or I guess Tomato Town isn't around. It's technically Tomato Temple that is still on the map. It's not a named location, but you know, most of it is still there. Most of the buildings and things like that are up near the pressure plant in the jungle biome. And then the final one is Flush Factory, which is another one we talked about in the past. But Flush Factory coming back, that's another, it's not the most popular location, but it is a classic, so I'd be happy to see that come back. Now with that being said, guys, all of these are again in the challenges, so it's very likely they will return and they will be future rift zones. We already talked about how there can't be only 2 rift zones with special unique abilities that happen within the rift zones, and we don't know what those special abilities, or whatever you want to call them, are going to be. But if they are at these old locations, there's definitely going to be some fun things happening. Then after that, guys, something I found pretty interesting is that if you go into game and specifically take a look, or actually this will probably be gone since it's in the item shop, it'll probably be rotated out, but obviously, you know, we got these skins that fit in with the theme of Tilted Town and stuff like that. And by the way, thanks again for all of you who have been using code TheLlamaSir and helping to support me. But one specific thing that I want to point out is the Longhorn Pickaxe. This is very, very interesting because this pickaxe has been in the game's files for many, many months. I want to say like at least 6 months, and correct me if I'm wrong because that is kind of a guess. I just remember it being around like forever, and we talked about how it was one of those items that was in the game for like a super long time, but it's finally out now, meaning that they likely had this plan for Tilted Town for a very, very long time. We do know that they plan seasons out, you know, many seasons ahead, but this is just more proof of that, and it's something very cool. But yeah, guys, then moving on to the final topic I have for today's video, I wanted to go over the specific stats for the new weapon, the automatic sniper rifle. Now, this one, I haven't gotten to use it a ton, but it seems like a pretty decent item, especially for long range and stuff like that. But basically, yeah, let's go over the stats for it so you know exactly how it works. And oh, actually, a bonus thing, Arsenal is going to be coming back soon. That was the LTM that was removed back in like, I think 14 Days of Summer. And it's the one where you have to like rotate through weapons by getting eliminations. But either way, let's talk about this new item. So it's available in rare, epic, and legendary variants. Nothing too crazy there. Uses medium ammo, not sniper ammo, which is pretty cool. That means that it's going to be very viable and not going to run out of ammo very fast. On top of that, it does fire projectiles, but they travel faster than other sniper rifles. And as for the damage, it is 31, 33, and 35 respectively, but it fires very, very fast. 4 rounds per second is pretty fast for this, especially when it is fairly long range. Kind of reminds me of the scoped AR a bit, but then for the headshot, it is 62, 66, and 70. Also, you've got 16 rounds per magazine, uses a reduced zoom scope, and can be found from floor, chest, vending machines, supply drops, and loot carriers. So basically, you know, all the normal places to get loot. But yeah, guys, let me know down below in the comments what you think of this item. Have you gotten to use it yet? I'm curious to see what you have to say. But anyways, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more fun videos coming out in the near future. On top of that, you can check out some of my previous videos here, such as on the left, going over the visitor's secret base, and then on the right, a bunch of proof and clues in-game about returning locations. But other than that, guys, again, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you in the next one.